Hello, what fiddle? How we diddling? What's going on? I hope you're all feeling very, very well. Today I'm going to share something that the Emissaries gave me, which I think is really, really interesting. And it's about the split and about whether we're going to be on one line or another line, or we're going to be on both for a while. What's going to happen? Well, the Emissaries clear that up, and I'll share it all with you on the other side. So let me tell you what happened. So I went out the other day for a run. It was a beautiful blue sky. Blue, perfect, untouched by you-know-who. And I felt like the dog's doings. And I was running, and I started to run up the road, and lo and behold, this started in the sky. And by the time I got to the place where I would talk to the Emissaries, this guy looked like a plate of spaghetti. But not an attractive one, not a tasty plate of spaghetti, and with no tomato on. And as you might imagine, I was vexed. I was vexed. In fact, because I used to get really angry. I mean, it was destroying my happiness. Now it doesn't. But I get vexed, and I was talking to the men in the aeroplanes, going, "You little tinkers," words to that effect, as you can imagine. "You little tinkers, you should know better." But they don't. They don't know any better. So I was kind of, as I started to talk to the Emissaries, I was a bit like grumpy, and I said, "When is this going to stop?" And in their inimitable fashion, they said, "It's going to stop when it stops." Okay, all right, yes. Well, there you are for stating the obvious. It's going to stop when it stops. However, they added more, because they always do. And they said it'll stop when the powers that be, and I would rather call them the shower of shit that are, when they withdraw. That's what they said, when they withdraw. And they said because they will continue on and again, I'm going to use this metaphor of the left-hand path, for those who are continuing on to go down that road, it'll continue there. And they said on the right-hand path, for those who are going off to do something better and different, it will diminish and disappear. And so they said, when you see them disappear, you will know that we are now a fair way down the right-hand path, the split. And they use this expression, which I've never heard them use before. Lately, there's a lot of shifts I'm noticing with the Emissaries. They're saying different things. They're using different expressions that I've never heard. And they said those will disappear when we get further down the energetic stream of consciousness. And it stood out to me, and I thought, energetic stream of consciousness? I don't even know what that means. And they were just saying it's just our way of describing the split off. It's an energetic stream of consciousness that we choose to go down, and a different one that the others choose to go down. So I said to them, this split, this energetic stream of consciousness, is it a distinct timeline from the other one? And they said, no, not at the beginning. Later on, yes, but the actual transition is not a distinct timeline in the way that they understand it. And so I said, okay, so if it's not a distinct timeline, are we going to be on one, or are we going to be on both? How's that going to work? I don't understand it. And they said, we'll be on both. Because what they explained was that this is a transition. And for the transition to be seamless, we have got to be on both of these lines, these streams of consciousness. So that the people who are not going with us are still aware of us, even though we will fade away. And because the people who are not going with us will be aware of them until they fade away. And so it's kind of like the way that they show me is this, we're almost like we're opaque. We split, and so people can see us, but we just fade and fade until we're no longer there. So I said to them, because I thought, well, fair enough. But does that mean we're two different people? Does that mean we're going to be conscious of the two timelines? Or energetic streams. They're not timelines. Are we going to be, is it going to be like a schizophrenia we're going to have, where we're going to be thinking, oh, I'm on this timeline, on this one? They said everything depends on where your focus is. And this is what I thought was the most interesting out of what they said. They said, if your main focus is on the negative, if that's what you're looking at, they said that then that's the timeline that you're going to perceive, or the energetic stream that you're going to perceive a lot more. And they said, if your focus is on the good, the beauty, the way that we're going forward, that's what you're going to see a lot more. And obviously that makes sense because, what we believe is what we see. It's just the way that we work. And I said, oh, well, if your focus is on the negative all of the time, will that take you down that road? And they said, no, it won't. If your future plan is to go to the right-hand path, that's where you're going. But they said, if your focus is on the negative a lot, they said it's going to make it seem much slower, the split off. It's going to seem that the bad is just going on and on and on because of your focus. And they said the split will last a lot longer for those people who are focusing on the negative than for those who are focusing on what it is that they want. Both options are available. Now, we've been there before, haven't we? We've talked about the fact that it's not worth keep looking at the bad all of the time. We know the bad's there. The bad's there. We don't need proof of it. We don't need to reinforce it in our mind. We know that shit is going on. And we also know that what we focus on, we get more of. And that's just a standard. It's always been that way. That's a standard manifesting little trite expression. Something like where your focus goes, energy flows. Something like that. But what the emissaries are saying is that now it's even more important, because whatever it is that we're focusing on is what we're going to get, what we're going to see in its many, many forms. And so I took that very much to heart, what they were saying. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? And it's been obvious to me for yonks that it ain't worth staring at the horribleness. There's so much horribleness here, that we're kind of separating from. Okay, and when you think about the talking, everybody talks about ascension and moving from 3D to 5D and all of that. That's basically what the emissaries are talking about. Is that we change our focus, we look for what it is that we want, and we split and we ascend, and it's a natural process. And how many times have we heard, oh, he's really stuck in 3D. Get yourself out of 3D. Don't be dragging your heels in 3D. We live in 3D. I don't hang my hat on any of these expressions like 3D, 5D, but we know what they mean, the essence of it. And so you can use them, but as long as we don't take it literally. Just as we talk about the split, don't take it literally. A stream of energetic consciousness, well, that's just another name, isn't it? They're all just names that don't really explain what it is that's going to happen. But what we know is that the most important thing for us to do is to turn away from the shite and stop looking at it. And look, there are people whose job it is to do that. It's their job to rake the muck. And they do a beautiful job, and we must support them. We must support them, but that doesn't mean that we have to watch it all the time. Support them, yes, because they're working on a different energy level. They're working with different people. They're helping the people who've just woken up to come through quickly through a series of slaps around the face. We don't need those slaps around the face. We know where we're going. We know what's coming. It's going to be beautiful. That's what we need to focus on. That's what we need to talk about. Except when we're with people who are in the process of waking up, and it is allowed, we are allowed to give them both barrels, which we often do, which I often do. Often I come away from that and I think, I've probably put them off waking up. They probably don't want to wake up anymore. They're probably, I'm a bit curious, Gordon. I'm a bit curious about that. You know that, the moon landing. Tell me a little bit about that. I'm a bit curious about those lines in the sky. I'm a bit curious about all of that and the pandemic. Can you just tell me a little bit? There is no little bit. When you get the green light, to go ahead and give people, the full 20 years of being awake in like 3 or 4 minutes, you can imagine that they're, what the actual has he just said to me? So again, we are allowed to do it, but I think we need to use the softly, the gently, the tiptoe through the tulips effect with people. If only I could learn to do that instead of giving them the full wedgie of truth. One of these days, One of these days when I get further down this stream of energetic consciousness along which we are all moving. I love you all, and I'll speak to you all later. Put in the comments whether you have given anybody recently an energetic wedgie with all of the information that you have inside of you dying to get out. I love you all. Bye-bye.